So hello everyone, my name is Renee Sanchez and I am the superintendent for the Champlain Valley School District. And I am very excited to meet with you here tonight for our first of 3 strategic plan town halls that we will hold over the course of this year, so that way we can provide our community an update with the strategic planning process. So tonight is just a meeting that we will have recorded on our website, and also to have the opportunity for anybody who's available to meet with us tonight, be able to ask questions of what is a strategic plan, why we're doing this, and then if there's any feedback that people would like for us to take into consideration as we move along the strategic planning process. We would love to be able to hear that tonight as well. So I've created a short presentation that will, I guess, kind of give us the tenor of the discussion for tonight. I know that as we move forward into the other 2 strategic planning town halls, we will have a much bigger, picture of what the steering committee and the other meetings that we have held, as well as any surveys or focus groups that we hold. We'll be able to present those at the town halls as well. So here's an outline of tonight's presentation, and then we'll definitely get into questions and feedback. So welcome and introduction. And Bonnie, now that I am screen sharing, I don't know how many people are about. So
we have about, not very many yet. There are about 8 people total.
Okay, all right, great. Hopefully at the end of the agenda, if we have time for everybody to introduce themselves and their stakeholder status within our district, that would be awesome. I'd love to be able to hear that. So we will talk a little bit about what a strategic plan is. And then we will mention that who the stakeholders are: the board, the administration, the schools, and our community. As far as what does the district have in place now? So we have our mission and we have our transferable skills. One of the things that isn't listed there is that we have our annual board goals, and I'll talk a little bit about those when I talk about our mission and transferable skills. But the bullet that follows that immediately, some of those are required from the state and the federal government, the continuous improvement plan and the COVID recovery. But we also did some additional work last year so we could help guide our work for the strategic plan this year, including a demographic study and an equity audit. Yeah. And of course, our 2020 equity policy that was passed in December 2020. And then I'll finish up with what we have already completed as far as the strategic planning timeline and what we still have upcoming, and we will have time for questions for that. Okay. So some of these slides are going to be taken from presentations that our consultant from the Vermont School Boards Association, Phil Gore, has provided to us. And what these particular message of what is the purpose of strategic planning is really to create cohesion of what the community, what the board, what the administration, and all the other stakeholders believe should be our focus. So it stems from our values and runs through our mission and vision all the way to so once we have our values and our mission and vision set, then we want to be able to measure, are we doing the things with our budget, with our instruction, with our curriculum, with our services in order to meet those values, mission, and vision. And so as a district, with the help of the school board and our consultant, we're going to be working to identify goal areas and ways to measure those goal areas so that way we can make sure that we're meeting the goals of the mission, the vision, and the values. So as part of that, we have a steering committee that will help us develop the strategies as well as the activities and the expected outcomes for those goal areas and indicators. So our steering committee, which is met once, is helping us really get the vision of what the stakeholders outside of the board would like for us to do when it comes to making sure that we are creating the school district that will create the students and eventually the Vermont residents who are going to be carrying Vermont past the midpoint of this century. I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday about how, 21st century skills, but given that we're already more than 20 years into the 21st century, really we're preparing our students right now for the second half of the 21st century. So that's always going to be in the back of my mind as we're doing this. So the other big piece of the strategic plan is to really get the ideas from the community and from our stakeholders so that they recognize that as a district, as a public steward of funds, as our board being elected officials, that we want to make sure that their voice is very present as we design this. One of the terms that you will hear on a more regular basis now, because I've heard it a lot in the last calendar year, is this idea of co-creation. So it's not just come to us and tell us what you think and maybe we'll act on it. It's come to us, work with us, and then we're going to develop something that has the ability to live beyond us, because we came up from, we have our ideas, you have your ideas, and at the end of the day, we're all working in the best interests of our students and of our school district. So this piece, I believe, and I guess Bonnie, I might have you say a couple of things about the timing of the timing of the timeline later, how it coincides with our budget process, because this is going to be, I think, great practice for us beyond this year when we come and we talk to the public about our budget issues, because really this year they're kind of sitting on top of one another. And so we're going to be able to talk about plans for moving into the future, as well as kind of practicing how we're going to get feedback from the community with budget moving forward. Okay. All right. So here's some art. The next two slides have some artifacts for of what we're currently using. So this, I guess the image that you see on the right-hand side of our CVSD mission, you will actually see that around the school district on the walls of our schools and of our offices. And so this mission, when it was created around the 2011-2012 school year, when we were still a supervisory union, when we had multiple school boards for the supervisory union district. And so it has lived with us, it has guided us. And so this is one of the artifacts that we're using right now to guide us in our work. The second part of the second artifact is our transferable skills. And so if you look on the right-hand side, you'll see the tree, the sapling that has our mission listed amongst the branches and the leaves. But on the leaves, there are bulleted statements that we have created that we call our transferable skills. This is work that the state led around 2017, and we developed this to really suggest what are some of the proficiency skills, what are some of the skills that we're expecting our students to work on each year as they move through our system. And so these are things that we are also looking at because they provided us such great service so far. So this slide, we've had several conversations about, well, we've got a continuous improvement plan, we have a COVID recovery plan, we have other items going on. So we also have like a facilities plan and a digital learning plan. We have a lot of different plans. So I wanted to take a little bit of time to I guess, differentiate and to include what each of those are and how they fit in the strategic plan. So the first one in the top left is our continuous improvement plan. That is a biannual, so we have to submit it every 2 years, a plan that we have to share with the state of whatever it is the state is asking us to make sure that we implement. Whether it's a very, very high level topic, but they give us the wherewithal to decide how we're going to implement it, which is fantastic. But then they expect us at the same time to be able to show the data, to be able to show our accomplishments, whether or not we were able to complete the actual expectations or if we're just showing progress. And all of this is aligned to the state's educational quality standards. So that is something that we have to submit to our board for approval every 2 years, and then we submit it to the state for their approval as well. The one to the right, which is the COVID recovery plan. So in the last couple of years, thanks to the pandemic, we received some extra funds from the state in order to help us with our practices and our systems around social emotional learning, student engagement, and academic achievement and success. So we had to develop a set of plans that we submitted to the state, and the state approved those plans, and as a result, they provided us with funding in order to implement those plans. So this year, knowing that the continuous improvement plan was due and the COVID recovery plan is still in effect, at least for another couple of years, we were able to cross-link them. And so they are effectively one and the same. The COVID recovery plan will have one extra set of expectancies having to do with student engagement and attendance. But we will be working to make sure that we're tracking the progress on both of those for our board and for the state. But at the end of the day, they are very focused on making sure that we have the academic plans in place for our students to be successful. How our strategic plan can be differentiated from these two is that it is much more, it's going to be much more holistic. So it's not just looking at specific things that the state is asking us to do. It's going to be looking at a lot of different things. So it's going to be looking at how we're using our facilities, how we're designing our budgets, how we're making sure that we are increasing equity within our schools. So these are the pieces of the feedback that we're seeking from the community to help us design what that looks like. We are at, I would even say, a crossroads right now, since we are exiting the worst effects of the pandemic. And now we're moving into a situation where we have some extra resources, and we have the ability to get back together in groups so that we have the ability to plan together for what's coming over the next 5 to 8 years. And so that, I think, is how you can differentiate the continuous improvement plan and the COVID recovery plan, is that they are going to live within the strategic plan. So the two things that are listed immediately below the CIP and the COVID recovery plan. So we had a demographic study done last year by an organization, I think in Southern Vermont, who does demographic studies all over New England. And so the gentleman who was in charge of that study worked really closely with our town managers and our town clerks to not only look at census data, but also to find out what types of building was going to take place, of homes, of apartments, and other those that were going to take place in our 5 towns over the next 10 years. So the first 5 years, those expectations are going to be fairly accurate, because those students are between the ages of 1 month and 5 years or 4 years right now. So we have a pretty good idea that they're going to be coming in. Beyond the 5th year, those are theoretical students, whether they're theoretical students who are born in Chittenden County or born around our area, or they're going to be born somewhere else in the country and then move here. But as you can see, there is an expectation of an uptick, or at least what I should have done on there is listed how many students we have now. We have around 3,900 students right now. By 2025-26, we should be close to over 4,000 students. If you include pre-K, over 4,400. And then by the end of 2031, 32, we should be over 4,200 students, and then over 4,600 if you include pre-K. So that being said, we really have to look at our building capacity over the next few years to make sure that we're prepared to serve those students and to greet those students when they do arrive on our doorstep. To its immediate right, there is the equity audit. Last semester in the spring, we hired an organization called Mass Insight, who did some, I guess, interviews, surveys, reviewed our data for both students and human resources. They conducted interviews and focus groups and other forms of outreach during this time. And so they will be coming back to us with the results and recommendations from their research on our district, and we will have that information for everyone available at our next board meeting, which will take place on September 20th. So it'll be available on our website the next day, but if you want to hear it firsthand, delivered by Mass Insight themselves, they will be delivering it at that board meeting. And then at the bottom, kind of the foundation for a lot of what we're hoping to accomplish through our strategic plan is to make sure that we incorporate our CVSD equity policy, because our equity policy is going to serve and try to deliver success for every student. I mean, especially those who are from historically marginalized communities, populations. So, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we have the system that our students deserve, that our community deserves, and we're able to make it work given the way that we are currently funded. And so you will hear more information about how the equity policy fits in to our goals and objectives more than likely the next time that we have one of these town halls. So now to the timeline. So already, much of these bullets will describe what Phil Gore has done. So he's met with me plenty of times. He's met with the board several times. He's met with principals several times. More recently, in May, he met with the board to discuss the mission, the vision, and inclusion. Late in August, we held our first meeting of our strategic plan steering committee, where it was composed of central office staff, superintendent, principals, teachers, parent representatives, student representatives, representatives from the community, and other people were invited, but were unable to make it. So we're hoping to, the next time we have this meeting, make sure that we're able to have it on a date that is of everyone, or most of everyone is available. So the work that we have upcoming. So the next major series of events that we have for our strategic plan is that we plan on hosting 3 community forums. And so this is where Phil Gore and I will be leading kind of the information seeking from our community. So we're planning on hosting one on a Thursday night from 6 to 8, but we're also trying to find other times that other people might be available to come. So for example, the October 13th is on a Thursday, the October 15th is on a Saturday morning, and then the October 17th is actually during a school day. So we're hoping that we might be able to have a good cross-section of parents, community members, and others be able to join us on any one of those times. And so I think, let's see, yeah, so those will take place prior to the next strategic plan town hall, which will take place in November. So if you are interested, we will have the locations by the end of this week. So we will be able to advertise those on our website, in our school newsletters, and on social media. But so just please keep an eye out for where those community forums will be located. So once those community forums have been held and we have information back from the from the community, that's when the steering committee will really get to work. And we will have to get together and put all of that information into a, I guess, tangible, readable set of action statements and clear objectives for each of those goals, and make sure that the tasks and activities that are going to lead us to successful outcomes for those goal statements are evident enough so that when we present a draft strategic plan to the board on January 23, that they will have a good idea of what it is that we're trying to do. So once we have that draft strategic plan to the board, then we will work with the board and with the administration to develop the metrics for each one of those things. And then with the goal of presenting the final strategic plan to the board for adoption at our March meeting. And we've, if we're needing a little extra time, we could definitely look at it. Hopefully we pass it in March 23. If not, we still have April 23 to be able to pass it at that time. The one thing that I didn't mention earlier, but I want to make sure that I mention it now since we're talking about the board. So what I've been able to see over the last couple of years in working with our board is that they put a lot of stake in the board goals and in the board work plan, and that is their role. That is what VSBA tells them that they need to do. And I think it's actually wonderful that they do it and that the plans are very clear. By developing the strategic plan, these goals and objectives and tasks are going to be clear for 5 years in a row. So that way the board will be able to do the work of the board and really monitor the administration and the district for the community to make sure that our full attention is on the strategic plan and those goals. So that way, when we come and we present to the board, or when I'm out in the community and communicating about what is the school district up to, what are we working towards, how are we making sure that student outcomes are being met, how are we making sure that we are retaining and enriching our workforce, I want to be able to answer those questions because we have those embedded in our strategic plan. And so those are things that we'll be able to work on over the course of 5 years and show progress. So I really want to be able to thank our board for being able to take on this task of allowing us to seek this strategic plan so that way we're all focused and we have a cohesive plan over the next 5 to 8 years. So, all right, that was more than 20 minutes of presentation, so I apologize. But at this time, I would love to be able to take any questions or any feedback that anyone would like to offer as far as what we need to make sure that we consider within the strategic plan. So if you'd like, you can raise your hand, and Bonnie, if you can kind of keep an eye out, that would also be wonderful. Oh, Iowa Shops, yeah. Okay, Stephanie.
Thank you for that, Renee. Just wondering, is part of this strategic planning to change our mission statement, or just more to streamline the actions that are already there?
So we are sharing the mission statement with the steering committee, and they are providing us feedback on it. So I can, one of the things that we can do, I don't know if we have it posted on our website, but we have minutes from the previous steering committee. One of our I guess pieces of communication, one of the pieces of feedback that we got was the use of citizens. That citizens could be, maybe in 2011, 2012, it was appropriate to describe it as citizens, versus now graduates or students or something like that other than citizens. Additionally, we also got some feedback on think that there could be a more powerful word for that as well. So those are just that's the kind of feedback that we've been able to receive so far. Just gonna go around and call on people, which is fine too. Let's see. All right, so I'm guessing that's you, Susan. Do you have any questions or any thoughts on the process or anything you would like to share? You don't have to turn on your picture if you don't want. I expect you to be on your kayak.
No, I wasn't on my kayak, though it is a pretty night out there and there were a lot of kayaks out there when I got home. I don't have any questions tonight. I was just really helpful to see where we're going with this, and I am actually excited about this work. I think it's really important for us, more for the fact that it's been since our consolidation with all of our towns and our districts coming together, and now we're one district. I think it's a great opportunity for us to do some of this work. So I'm really looking forward to it. So, thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Lori, I don't know if you're available, but it was wonderful seeing you twice today. So do you have any feedback for tonight's meeting? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
I'm here, sorry.
No problem.
I don't have any questions for you right now, Renee. I may have some, in the near future, of course. I'm excited about this, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm excited that our support staff are, involved in it as well, and a part of those discussions. So I look forward to see where this is going to take us.
Thank you. And like we were discussing at your training event or before the school year started, it's really important to have that voice of our paraprofessionals and the support staff in this, because they do a lot of work on a daily basis with our students. And I feel like it's really important for us to make sure that we have a quality of life available for them, and a quality of work, an environment that they are at their work where they feel valued as well. So thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Okay. Constance, do you have any questions or do you have any feedback?
Hi, all. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I'm on my phone connecting. Feedback.
Just thoughts either way. If there's anything you'd like to additionally ask.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this work, just echoing others. And I am a parent, as I've shared on the steering committee of an incoming kindergartner. So I'm newer to the school district, but I'm really excited to partner with you all to get out the word and just kind of get buy-in from the community and from parents. I'm really excited to see representation from district staff tonight. So yeah, I enjoy the collaborative process. I really like the sentiment you started with, Renee, about I forget exactly what it was, working together, creating something together. Feels really generative, like there's a lot of opportunity. So just happy to be a part of the process. And like I said, really excited to get to partner with you all.
Well, thank you, Constance. So Constance or Connie, which do you prefer?
Either is fine. I think generally I go by Connie, but I answer to Constance also.
Okay. Well, I mean, if I'm excited about your kindergartner next year, correct?
Nope, she's here. She's started
Here.
up.
Okay,
Yes, it's
so,
no longer incoming. She's officially a kindergartner.
so 13 years from now, it will be 2035. So, she's going to be working in and among the mid-century crowd. So we have to make sure that what we're providing now is well aligned to her being ready to graduate or graduate from high school in 2035 and potentially, college and other degrees closer to 2040.
Exactly. Yeah, she'll get to live out and benefit she and her peers for a lot of this work that we'll be doing. So it's great.
It's awesome. Thank you. And Megan, is that Megan Metzler? Or is it a different Megan?
It's Megan Metzler, and I do not have any feedback. I have plenty of opportunities to provide feedback. Thank you very much. And thank you for those who participated.
Thank you. All right. And then I guess, Sarah, is there anything you would like to add?
No, thanks for asking. I'm just here to really hear what our community members have to say and our school staff. I'm excited to see our school staff here tonight.
Thank you. And then Bonnie, is there, I guess I mentioned that we would be, that some of this is going to sit on top of the budget communications and surveys that we normally do. Can you expand a little bit on that?
Sure. Traditionally in October, we do our best to engage the community in our budget development process before the budget really gets underway so that we can hear input and get thoughts from people about, what do we value in our school district, what would be on our dream list. So we often have community forums and online surveys for those who can't make the community forums. So this year that actually runs at the exact same time as doing similar things for this strategic planning process. So we're not going to ask people to do both. So we're going to combine those two things into one. And a lot of the questions that we're considering, and it's not finished yet, but it's in development for the online survey and some of the topics for the upcoming community forums are very similar to the questions we would ask anyways for that budget development process. So we will share all of this with our larger communities so they know what to expect and what not to expect, and that this is all being merged into one series of opportunities to engage with us in this process that will benefit both parts.
Thank you, Bonnie. One last slide, and then we can call it an evening. So just wanted to, Stephanie, did you have another question or another thought?
Yeah, sorry. I just had another thought when I was just kind of looking over the numbers again from the input from the census and that information with the expectation of, roughly 10 years, an increase in our school population by about 600 kids. And that number to me seems extremely low, knowing just what the planning commission in Heinsberg is looking at, because I'm a resident of Heinsberg. And we're looking in the next 5 to 10 years of upwards of 500 homes being added to just Heinsberg. And I know there's a lot of construction going on everywhere, but just those numbers seem really low to me over the next 5 to 10 years for enrollment. If we're looking at, families coming into these towns and just the expansion and growth. So just a thought there.
Let me see if I have my demographic study still open. If you give me, I will, while I'm looking at Heinsberg, it's much harder to look at like that. One of the great things about this demographer that we use is that he actually met with the town managers. And so the information that you have, unless there's been a change in the last in the last, I don't know, 6 months or so, that he had the same exact information that you had.
Okay.
And so they have some sort of algorithm that measures, based on all of those housing units that are going to be added, based on the number of bedrooms, what ratio of children could possibly live there. And so based on that is how we arrive. So we expect the largest number of students to come out of both Williston and Heinsberg. So that's where we anticipate our growth to occur. That being said, we also don't expect, we expect zero growth or slight growth at every one of our towns. So nobody's actually going backwards.
Okay. Great. Thank you for taking a look at that. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. So just wanted this last slide that if you have, thanks for attending today. And if you have any thoughts that you would like to add, please make sure that you reach out to us either directly to me, or you can visit our Let's Talk links on our homepage. And then please, to keep track of all the things that are going on in the district related to the strategic plan, please visit our website or follow the district on Twitter or follow me on Twitter. So, all right. Hope everybody has a wonderful night, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for coming.